What is going on, y'all? It is the Caveman back at it again with another video, and per usual, I was scrounging for video ideas, and I asked my viewers what I should talk about. And a couple weeks ago, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, on one of my videos, my boy Jake Santos came through and said, why don't you talk about your favorite Bills win of the season? And I took this idea. I was like, for sure, Jake, I'm definitely going to talk about this when I get the chance. And I took this idea and I ran with it. Not only am I going to talk about my favorite Bills win, I'm going to talk about my favorite Bills moments, you know, maybe the worst Bills moments as well. Moments that I have a connection to personally, that I'm sure you will have a connection to personally as well. This season was full of so many memories. It brought so much happiness to the entire city of Buffalo that I'm sure these moments will reside with you the same way they reside with me. So the way I'm going to do this is I have 2 best moments, 2 luckiest moments, 2 of the most relieving moments, 2 of the worst moments, and 2 of the most frustrating moments of the entire season. These are probably going to be somewhat predictable, maybe not. I'm sure there are so many different moments that I just left out that I just could not think of. The Bills season was full of so much crazy shit that I definitely missed a play or two that definitely could have made a list like this. But to make it even harder on myself, I'm excluding the Hail Murray play against the Cardinals because, of course, that was the worst play of the season for the Bills. That was just absolutely heartbreaking. So I'm going to exclude that play. And, of course, the best play of the season was the Teron Johnson pick 6 against the Ravens in the playoffs. It's not even close that was the best play. So I'm also excluding that just to make this list a little bit harder so I can include some other moments in this list because there were so many good moments and, you know, a couple bad moments in the season as well that I think deserve recognition. And then, of course, at the end of it all, I'm going to talk about my favorite Bills win of the season, just like Jake requested. You know, obviously I'm running with this idea a little bit, but I am for sure going to talk about my favorite moment of the Bills 2020 season and, of course, my favorite Bills win. Now that I'm looking at my list, it does occur to me that a lot of these moments, you know, kind of happen in some of the same games, but that's because some of the games were just so crazy. So many crazy moments happen in so many different games this season, so you might see a few repeat games on this list. And if you guys have any moments that I left out on this list, please leave them in the comments because I know for sure I left out moments in this. I know for sure there were moments I forgot about, and I want you guys to leave down your favorite moments down in the comments below. So let's start with the most frustrating moments of the season. So I have them divided by the most frustrating offensive play and the most frustrating defensive play, and then that's the same thing for all the other categories I have. There's a play for offense and defense. And the most frustrating offensive play of the season, in my personal opinion, was when Dawson Knox caught the ball against the Steelers, I think, week 12 or whatever it was. He caught the ball, he started to turn with it, and then all of a sudden he just dropped it. He fumbled it out of nowhere, and it got picked off. Or he fumbled, they called it a fumble, I think, but out of nowhere, like, I don't know how or why he dropped this ball, but for me personally, this was extremely frustrating.
2nd and 10, it's out quick, it is Knox, and is that a catch and a fumble? Let's see. It is ruled on the field such, and Pitt doesn't hit the ground at all.
No,
nope, it doesn't.
Never did.
Yep.
You might be thinking, like, why is that all that frustrating to you? Like, why is that the most frustrating offensive play to you? Well, because personally, if you may not know, I am pretty much off of the Dawson Knox train, and I have been for a while now. I think he could be a very good tight end, but he just hasn't lived up to the expectations that I think we're going to need him to play at once this season especially rolls around. And by that point in the season, week 12, I was pretty much done with Dawson Knox. You know, he just isn't it, in my opinion. And, you know, once he made that play, I was ready to rip my hair out because I was like, why is he on the field? Where's Tyler Croft? Why is Dawson Knox getting the ball? I was just going through a whole bunch of different emotions because that Steelers game especially was one of my favorite games of the season. I was looking forward to that game a lot because I wanted to show the world that the Steelers sucked ass, and that's exactly what we did, obviously. But that moment was like when Dawson Knox dropped that ball, I wanted to rip my damn hair out. Now, the most frustrating defensive moment that I have written down, I just realized is also an offensive moment, but I think it's a little too late to go back and change it. But this was definitely a frustrating moment when we played against the Rams in week 4 or 5. I don't remember what weeks we played these games in, but anyway, we played against the Rams, and I think you know where I'm going with this. Josh Allen just turns around and hurls the ball up into double coverage to Tyler Croft, the guy that I felt like should have been our tight end all season, and he caught the ball, right? He came down with it, and there was a fight for it between him and the DB, and somehow they gave the Rams the interception.
Dealing with the penalty on 1st and 20. Josh Allen, who has not been sacked today, shows his arm strength again. And the catch is made with a flag. Tyler Croft hauls it in at the 41.
Interference, offense number 81. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is an interception, and it'll be a first down for the Rams.
Takes it away. It's a Ram takeaway.
I cannot explain to you the amount of anger and frustration and confusion that overtook me in that moment. And I'm sure that just goes for everybody that was watching that game, for all Bills fans, because that was the most bullshit interception. Because at the end of the day, even when there's a jump ball like that and two guys go down on the ball like that, you know, you give the tiebreaker to the receiver. That's like the unwritten rule. You give the tiebreaker to the receiver. And for some reason, they gave it to the Rams, even when I don't know. That was horrible. That was frustrating, to say the least. So let's move on to the most relieving moment of the 2020 season. I actually have offense and defense, unlike for the frustrating moments I had two offense by accident, but this is offense and defense. And the most relieving plays of the season, once again coming from the Rams game on offense, when Cole Beasley caught that 3rd and 22 to keep the drive going on the game-winning drive.
On 3rd and 22. Open is Beasley. He's going to get the first down or be very close.
I don't have to set the scene for you. You all know the context. We were down by, 4 or something like that. We just blew like a 30-point lead, and we were coming back to drive down the field to try and take the lead back at the end of the game. And it was a 3rd and 22. I think it was a hold or something that put us back that far. And Cole freaking Beasley catches an absolute laser beam from Josh Allen in the middle of the field, and he's able to squirm for those extra 4 or 5 yards to get the first down. Talk about relieving, because if we don't get that, we pretty much lose the game. And I'm sure that whole drive could be a relieving moment, because not only did Cole Beasley catch that 3rd and 22, we have like a 3rd and 25 later in the drive, and Stephon Diggs made it like, you know, I think he made it 4th and 9 or something like that when he caught that pass from Josh Allen in the red zone. And then we got a freaking defensive pass interference call on the Rams, and it gave us a first down, which led to the Tyler Kroft touchdown. That was just a drive of many emotions. That game was ridiculous, but, you know, I think that 3rd and 22 catch definitely takes the cake for the most relieving moment, in my personal opinion. So for defense, the most relieving moment. Now, like I said, there are going to be a lot of moments from the same games on this list just because of the action that came in some games. And there were a lot of games where, you know, maybe in the Titans game or the Chiefs game in the regular season where we got blown out. There's no reason to include any moments from that, because both of those games were just embarrassments on so many levels. But then there were other games where we did the embarrassing moments to the other team, which just made it even, like, I feel like the stage had to be set for the moment to be even better. You know, it had to impact the game severely, and this moment definitely did. When Teron Johnson picked off Big Ben, I think it was like 2nd and 9 or something, but he picked off Big Ben and took it to the crib. When we were struggling on offense in the first half, that was a humongous pick.
Of attempts without a sack, now at 272. Maybe 273, but he threw a pick. Back the other way from Buffalo. Taron Johnson will score. Touchdown, Bills.
And that one sticks out to me a lot, not only because it was so huge in the game, but like I said earlier in the video when I was talking about the Steelers game, I was looking forward to that game. I was saying all week that no matter what, we are not losing to the Steelers, and it was not looking good in the first half. We just could not move the ball, and of course the Stephon Diggs takeover happened in the second half. But like that game was one of the best for me in my personal opinion, because of how intense it was, and like the Steelers were being hyped up as such a good team, and it was time for them to actually meet their maker in the Buffalo Bills, and we absolutely just decimated them. But that's a different story. We definitely showed them what's up, and that was why that game was so important to me, and that is also why, you know, I think that Teron Johnson pick 6 was very relieving, because I was like, oh, finally, we have a lead, we can relax now. So let's move on to the luckiest moment of the season on offense and defense. I think this one will be pretty unanimous once you really think about it. For the offensive side of the ball, the luckiest moment, in my personal opinion, was definitely when Darrell Williams recovered the fumble against the Colts when Josh Allen dropped it. It was pretty late in the fourth quarter. We were driving down the field. It would have been a big drive to get points on. I think we did get points on it. I don't really remember. But either way, Josh Allen fumbled the ball in a big place, and Darrell Williams came up clutch to recover the fumble.
And a 3:52 to play. 13-yard gain by Singletary. First down, Buffalo. Allen wouldn't go down initially. Now he's going to take a big sack and loses the football. Buffalo jumps on it.
Now, you can argue this isn't really lucky, but I feel like whenever the ball hits the ground, it's just a matter of whoever's closest and whoever is able to, you know, control the bouncy football. I don't know. I feel like recovering fumbles is, you know, very luck-based. Whoever's closest to whoever has the best hands to pick the ball up. I don't know. I feel like it's very luck-based, but that play certainly could have changed the course of our season. We may not even get to the AFC Championship game if Darrell Williams does not recover that fumble. So that was a very big moment. It was certainly lucky, I would say. Now, as far as the defensive side of the ball goes, the luckiest moment of the season, in my personal opinion, was when Mecole Hardman dropped that punt and set us up on a 1st and 2 in the AFC Championship game. Our first touchdown of the game, and that was huge when Mecole Hardman dropped that punt.
Over 50 yards a punt.
We're not moving the ball very well, and we basically got a free touchdown because Miko Hardman muffed the punt. So I think that was a relatively lucky moment on a humongous stage. All right, so now let's move on to the worst moments on offense and defense of the season. So these aren't particular moments. Well, actually, the offensive one is, but the defense isn't really a particular moment, but we'll get to that in a second. The offensive worst play of the season, and in my opinion, the worst moment, was when Sean McDermott decided to kick a field goal when we were down 24-12 in the third quarter in the AFC Championship game. That was, in my opinion, just kind of waving the white flag. And in a game like that, when you have a 4th and 3 and pretty much on the goal line, you need to go for it, man. I think he needed to go for that. That was definitely the worst moment, because once that happened and we kicked that field goal, we basically waved the white flag and we kind of knew our season was over. Now, like I said, for the defensive worst moment of the season, this is also from a playoff game. This is from the Colts game. This isn't a particular moment, but when we were up in the game, we were up by, what, 13 or 14 points. There was like 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, right? We were up by 2 scores. The only thing we couldn't do on defense was let the Colts score in like a minute. That's the only thing we could not do, because that was the only way they could stay in the game. We just had to make sure that even if they got points, it took them 3 or 4 minutes. But, you know, of course, the Buffalo Bills, in Buffalo Bill fashion, went out there and let the Colts score in less than 2 minutes.
Package here from Buffalo. They've done it most of the game on 3rd down.
Out of the gun. Rivers unloads. It's caught. Trey Burton
picked up a nice piece of real estate.
We asked him about the Buffalo D. He said it reminds me of those Carolina defenses that were so salty under McDermott. Here's Hines breaking away downfield, and a stiff arm by Hines. Rivers looks downfield, looking for it all. Rivers wide open. Touchdown, Jack Doyle. Rivers back in the end zone. It's Doyle again.
To be rather specific, the Colts started that drive at the time of 8:01 of the fourth quarter, and they scored at 6:13. Like I said, they were down by 2 scores. The only way they stay in that game is if they get 8 points, which they did, is if they get 8 points in a matter of less than 2 minutes. It was pretty much the only way they stayed in that game, and that is exactly what happened. And that made that game extremely, extremely close. That was a humongous drive that we gave up and that the Colts were able to manage. But that was just such a bad moment. Like, I literally said to my friends that were freaking out, I'm like, we're fine. The only thing we can't do is give up points in a matter of a minute. And what do we go into? Now, here we go. The best moments, in my personal opinion, of the 2020 season. I feel like all of these can be interchangeable, man. This list was so hard to make. I really, if I like redid this list, a lot of different things could happen. Like, I could put a lot of different moments in a lot of different places, but it was a very hard list to make. Like, it was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be, especially when you don't take into account the Hail Murray and the Teron Johnson pick six against the Ravens. It was a pretty hard list to make, but of course, these 2 moments are undeniably some of the best moments of the season. And of course, the best offensive moment, in my personal opinion, would be the Diggs touchdown against the Cardinals right before the Hail Murray happened.
2nd and 1 for the Bills. They handle the rush. Allen looking. End zone. Touchdown. Stephon Diggs with the grab. The Bills take the lead.
I don't have to set the stage for you. End of the game. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs hit a fantastic connection, and it was remarkable. It was one of those feelings that overcome you, and you're just like, holy shit, and you're just jumping and screaming and you're just going nuts. It was just, that was awesome. Now, for the best moment of the defensive side of the ball, I think this one kind of takes the cake. Without the Teron Johnson pick six against the Ravens, I think this one takes the cake for sure.
First time that's happened since 2002. Newton will keep it. Newton, oh, he lost the ball! Buffalo takes over! Cam Newton coughs it up with 31 seconds left.
Justin freaking Zimmer, dude. Who the hell is Justin Zimmer? Nobody knew who this guy was early in the season, but he made a name for himself, and that was the moment people knew who the hell Justin Zimmer was. That punch out on Cam Newton was so freaking clutch, because they were going to score on that drive. I don't care what anybody says. They had all the momentum in the world. They were going to score on that drive, and losing to the Patriots in that spot when they were like 2-4, 2-5, side, and we were, you know, starting to really run the table there, that would have been bad. Pretty embarrassing loss if we would have taken it. But Justin Zimmer came through, humongous fumble, such a big play, and it was definitely the best defensive moment of the year. Now let's just quickly go over my favorite win of the Bills 2020 season. This was tough. You know, I really had to really think about it and really take into account which game I enjoyed the most, which game had me through the most roller coaster of emotions. And, you know, I'm going to include the postseason, and then I'm not going to include the postseason, because I feel like postseason games, because of the pressure and the stage that they're put on, the moments are that much better, and I feel like it kind of overshadows regular season, so I'm going to separate the two. And of course, I think my favorite win of the postseason was definitely the Colts game. That game had me, you know, on the edge of my seat the entire time. It was a roller coaster of emotions, up and down, up and down. You were going through all of it. Any emotion you have ever felt in your life, you felt in that Colts game because of how close it was. It came down to such a wire. It was crazy. And of course, it came down to a Hail Mary play, which we've been struggling with in the season. We gave up 2 Hail Marys in the regular season, and it came down to a Hail Mary at the end of the game. We had our butt cheeks clenched, and if you didn't, you are lying to yourself. So including the postseason, I think the Colts game was definitely my favorite win. But if we exclude the postseason, I would absolutely say the Rams game. Talk about going through every emotion in the book. We were riding as high as Bob Marley in that game, man. We were riding high like Snoop Dogg in the first half. We were up by 30 points. Not a single worry in the world. Then, of course, in Bills fashion, we have to just make it close, because why not? That's what the Bills do. That's what Josh Allen likes to do. Make games close. Give the other team a little bit of tease. Give them a taste of victory for a second. And of course, we went through every emotion once that Tyler Kroft, you know, interception happened. And once Josh Allen was fumbling the ball, Josh Allen was struggling in the second half. Their defense was going crazy. Their offense was shredding through us. That was a freaking exciting first half and a devastating second half. And then the best ending you could possibly ask for. That game, talk about so many moments that I was shitting myself. Holy shit. I'm sure like I said, I could have so many different moments in so many different places. If I would have redone this list, I'm sure I would have had other moments. It was just too hard to do. I put down my favorite moments of the season. Like I said, I'm sure you have a lot. I want to know all your favorite moments, all of your, you know, least favorite moments down in the comments below. Jake, I want to know what your favorite game was, what your least favorite game was, any of that stuff. Any of you guys, please leave your thoughts down below. This is what I love to do. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, do all the fun stuff. If you guys want to hit that bell to be notified when I upload, I would appreciate that. If you want to go over to Twitter, follow me over there, I would appreciate that as well. The support has been outstanding as of late, and I really love to thank you guys. It's been really great lately, and the channel's been relatively slow because the football season is not in swing right now. The offseason has been relatively boring, but the support has been overwhelmingly good lately, and I just want to thank you guys for that. But if you enjoyed the video, I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.